Here are 3 things that Hollywood always gets wrong about criminal defense cases. First, sex offenders. Whenever you have to register as a sex offender, you have to knock on everybody's door to let them know that you are in fact a sex offender. This is one of the most common things I hear about from people who are dealing with criminal cases involving sex charges. They're constantly asking, will I have to tell my neighbors that I'm a sex offender? Will I have to go door to door? Will I have to move? All these types of questions. But that is one of the biggest misconceptions that comes with being a sex offender or having to register as a sex offender. You'll see it in movies, you'll see it in TV shows, but in the state of California, you do not have to do that. Instead, the way a person gets convicted is once they enter a guilty plea, they typically have to go to their local law enforcement agency. They have to then sign up with them, and they're put onto a website called Megan's Law. Then from there, any person can access that information. They have to, of course, click a disclaimer that they're not able to harass any person that is on that website. But all that happens is that your information is posted online, and it's posted on the Megan's Law website only. So it means that you're not actually knocking on a person's door. You're simply just registering and having your name put on a website. Number 2, the importance of DNA evidence. Now, I've done numerous trials where DNA evidence has been in question. And a lot of people, because of CSI and other TV shows, will hear, oh, there's DNA evidence, therefore the person did it, or the person is guilty. But that's not really the case. DNA is not a yes or no, or they did it or they didn't do it type of evidence. All it is about likelihoods. It's a math problem. It's saying, what is the likelihood that this person's DNA is a part of this person's clothing or touched this other human being in some way? That's really what DNA evidence is. It's talking about statistical likelihood. But there's also other issues with DNA evidence, such as transference, such as a person shakes your hand and then shakes another person's hand. That means that the DNA from the first person could transfer to that third person who they never met. This is why DNA evidence is not that slam dunk, you have it, you're guilty type of stuff. You need someone also that knows DNA evidence, which constantly Hollywood gets wrong. They make it seem as if it is the end all be all of a criminal case, and I can tell you from experience it is absolutely not. Number 3, the Perry Mason effect. Many people from probably younger than my day, will talk about Perry Mason. Perry Mason is a character from a show where in that show, it was a legal drama. There would always be a time where he would be able to kick down the door to the courtroom, walk in there with all of this evidence and say, well, this person's a liar, I just proved. That doesn't really happen. Most criminal cases are what are called he said, she said cases, where one person makes an allegation and the other person says that's not true, that did not happen. And yes, that is enough for a case to go all the way to a jury trial where it's just 2 people pointing fingers. There's not always going to be all bits of evidence there. The camera is not going to be recording to film every single person who's committed a criminal act. There's not always security cameras. There's not always confessions. That stuff is constantly in Hollywood movies because it makes movies and TV shows better. It makes them more interesting and more intriguing. But in real life, it comes down to ultimately a he said, she said battle, and it becomes the jury's job to determine whether or not they believe with that evidence alone, the person is guilty. If you find this or any of this interesting, please make sure to follow and leave a comment about any other criminal news or questions that you may have, and I'll try to answer them as best I can.